guys, welcome back. It's been a long time, way too long. And I guess a little background on that. As you guys know, we moved, you know, 1,000 miles away or whatever it was. Bought a new house. We've had to do some updates on the house. It's kind of taken our time. We didn't have a shop. We do have a shop now. It's not done. There's still no electric, but it's at least a place to work. Once the shop's all done, I'll show you all of that because it's going to be pretty cool when it's done. But we haven't done anything really with the 51 since the Rockabilly Ruckus last year, which was about 11 months ago, which means we're about a month away from taking this thing out there. And it's not ready. It's not ready at all. It has a bad turbo on it. That turbo is blown. I've got a clutch issue where the clutch barely releases and has no trouble, or has no travel. I've got a fuel pump that's hardwired right now. And honestly, I don't even know what else is quite wrong with it. And at the Ruckus, I want to turn laps on the dirt track again. This thing is so much fun sliding around. So I got to make sure that's all good. And they added dirt drags. We did them last year, and that's when I lost the clutch and I broke the input shaft. So, new clutch, bigger input shaft. I got to get this thing ready to go. So that's what we're going to work on this time. We got to get all that fixed up, and hopefully we can make some launches on it. Oh, and I have a slipper clutch. We'll get into that, but let's kind of go through this thing. So, what do we got to do to this thing? So when we took this thing out the last time, it didn't make any boost, and I don't know if you can really... No, you can't really see it. That's got a lot of play. That turbo shot. I've got a new turbo for it. And then had a wicked exhaust leak somewhere. Gonna have to figure that out. And then over here, so it still doesn't even have the duals on it if we had it in the trailer. This is my fuel pump wire because I don't know if the relay died, the switch died. I gotta fix that. It still won't start off the key. I have to shove a screwdriver in the wheel well every time. So that's got to get taken care of. But it is a mess. And then back here, this is the real trick piece that's going to make all of this work. Is a hydraulic slipper for the clutch. So this needs to get plumbed into the clutch line, and it will be wired into the Holley and will give me basically like a launch control clutch slip. So I got that somewhere. I've also got a new slave cylinder to try to make the clutch pedal feel a little more normal. But yeah, this thing needs a lot of work right now to get going because I don't want to go to the Ruckus unprepared. I don't want to get sidelined. Like last year we fought fuel pressure issues. I'm not doing it this year. I want to show up. I want this thing dialed. I want it on the track first thing, making passes. And I want it to do well at the dirt drags. So we got to figure all that out and try not to break anything. But first thing I'm going to do is tear the front end off this because we got to do the clutch on that side. We got to do a turbo on this side. So it's just easier to pull the whole front clip. And yeah, it's kind of sweet having like a real shop with space, tall ceilings, electric and a hoist would be nice, but that's coming. Turbo is out, and honestly it didn't seem like it had too much more play than this new one. Granted, they're cheap Chinese turbos, they're journal bearing, they're not great. So I tore it down just to kind of get an idea, and one thing I noticed is the oil wasn't actually flowing through. It was just pooled on the inlet. And this thing, when we put the clutch in, I did cut the oil filter apart, and it had a bunch of bearing material because it was killing one rod bearing. So I put new bearings in it. I kind of think this thing might have gotten clogged up with some bearing material, because if you look at it, she got really hot. I mean, look at that color. And you can see where both journal bearings are. They're all scratched up and nasty. I think this thing was just getting hot and seizing up, and I think that's why I didn't want to make boost, because that's a pretty little rainbow we've got on there. But let's slap this thing in. It's the exact same thing as that, eBay GT45, nothing special. And I mean, at least looks better. Oh, and then I did notice on here, You can see right there, it did at some point make contact with something. It's not all of them, but some of those veins are not the prettiest. So yeah, that's garbage. New turbos in, and I forgot I had found out what the exhaust leak was. It was a loose clamp at the bottom. So new turbos in. I ordered some. I've been running an air cleaner on here, but it comes forward and it hits the body, and it keeps falling off or breaking. So I ordered an intake, a silicone intake to run it over. I didn't want to put it behind the fan and suck in hot air, but I think at this point I need a filter and I can't keep one here. So I ordered that. This is all on. Seems much happier. So now I pulled out the whole clutch hydraulics, and we got to put the slipper clutch in, and we'll go through that now. Okay, so this is my master cylinder. It's a TIC Performance, because this thing is actually running the pedals out of a 98 to 02 Camaro, I think. And so I was able to use the TIC Performance Master because this thing would not release this heavy duty clutch. When I put the 1000 horse clutch in, it wouldn't release. So when I did that, I ordered this really trick TIC Performance master cylinder for a 98 to 02 F body. And when I did that, I was worried that I still wouldn't have enough. So I went and I replaced the slave cylinder, and I ordered the smallest bore slave cylinder I could, meaning that the smallest amount of fluid would make it release. Well, when I did all that, what I found out was that the master cylinder that was in there was just garbage. It didn't happen to be the new clutch that was causing the problem. So this moves a lot more fluid, and this takes a lot less fluid to move. So this thing had like this much pedal travel, and it was actually over traveling if I adjusted it anymore. So with that, I'm going to keep this because this is a sweet piece and it'll never give me problems like the stock one in there did. So I went and I ordered the largest bore slave cylinder that I can find. It's hard to tell, but there's roughly a 1/4 inch difference here. So this one should take a lot more fluid to move, which means I'll get a lot more pedal travel out of this thing. Now, the sweet setup to all of this is right now, this just goes through this line straight to the slave cylinder. So what I have is this piece, and this is from SWS Motorsports. I ordered it like a year ago and I haven't had a chance to put it on. So what this does is it basically plumbs in right here. So this will come out of here and it will go into here, and then this will come out and basically go where this line is. And when this solenoid is open, it just lets the hydraulic fluid flow through like normal. It's a normal clutch, it's not doing anything. When this solenoid closes, it forces the fluid to go through this restrictor right here. So this is an adjustable orifice, has a dial. You can turn it in or out to basically give it a smaller or larger orifice. So what I'll end up doing is this will get wired into the Holley on the 2-step for launch control. So I'm going to put a button on the steering wheel or the shifter, I'm not sure yet. Hold the button down, and I'll have my foot to the floor on the clutch. And as soon as I launch, this thing will stay activated, and I'll just sidestep the clutch. And what this will do is this is adjustable. It will kind of just delay the clutch engagement a little bit. So it'll just ride the clutch and slip the clutch a little bit for me. Because my concern is, with as much power as this thing is making, and as much tire is normally on it, I mean, it looks dumb now, and the 4-wheel drive, I'm worried I'm going to break either a front axle U-joint, a Dana 60 rear shaft, or a drive shaft. I don't know. It's got 1410 U-joints in it, but I don't want to break anything. So the idea is this will give me a little bit of slip. It should actually hook a little better because it won't shock the tires, and it will hopefully prevent it from breaking, and I'll have to dial this in. And then, because I'm going to put it on a button, once I let go of the button, this will never come back on. So when I power shift down through like a drag strip, this will just be wide open, no problems. So I got to figure out how to get this thing mounted up. I got to get it wired in. I had to order some fittings because these are -4. I thought I needed -4. I needed -3, so I need to replace these. But I need to get this thing mounted somewhere in there. And that is the struggle here. Is right there's the hole where it goes through. Here's my flex fuel sensor. That's conveniently in the way of everything. And then it only goes down here. So probably right here, I'm going to have to mount that and then run my wires up in and then tune it into the Holley to make it work. But for now, I'm going to get this stuff swapped around. My fitting shop, I'll get it all plumbed up and I'll show that to you. But we'll just keep working. It's a new day. I got a lot done. Didn't film any of it, really. So let me catch you guys up and then we'll get back to it. So first thing I did was, this thing has always just had an air filter right here that always seemed to get knocked off from the hood. So I cobbled together this little air intake, and it comes down and it actually runs down into here. It's just zip tied on there because I don't have any power out here. So I also have no welder. So I had to cobble that together. But I won't be sucking up hot air. I have a filter and I made a nice little screen, so that looks better. I'm happy with that. And then over here, I've changed how I'm actually doing this. So I cleaned up a bunch of wiring issues that I had. But, so this is a cable that runs down here and triggers this relay. That relay triggers the clutch slipper. I didn't actually put it through the Holley, because thinking about it, there's really no reason to. The Holley does the two-step. So I have this sweet little button right here. So when I go to launch, just push and hold, and that'll do it. And then when I let go to make my first shift, it'll be off, and then I won't have the clutch slipper, and all the gears after that'll be normal. So that's wired in there. Those wires are run down, and they're just kind of dangling here right now. So that will wire in there. But for the slipper itself, so I got my new slave cylinder in that's bigger, so that should give me a better pedal feel. I have my slipper clutch plumbed into the middle. That runs up to my TIC Performance master cylinder. It's all back together. Clutch is in. It actually feels pretty good. I had to adjust it a little shorter, but not near like it was. So the slipper clutch is working. I can hit the button. I can hear it actuate. It's hard to tell. I tested on jack stand. It's hard to tell what it's actually doing. So we're going to take it out. We're just going to try some launches. I really toned down the two-step. It's at 3,200 and it should only make like 4 or 5 pounds. I'm going to try 4 high, second gear, and we'll just go from there. I really don't know what it's going to do. The slipper clutch is adjusted like roughly halfway, which I have no idea if that's a good place to start or not. But I'm going to try not to break it, and we're going to try to make it hook up and go fast, because I want this thing to be competitive at dirt drags. So please don't break. Oh boy. All right, I'm in 4 high, second gear. I don't even know. Let's just try this. Clutch slip. It either really spun the tires or that was a ton of clutch slip. I think I need to make the clutch go faster. Did it spin at all?
I honestly couldn't really tell watching it live. I'll have to look back at the video. You knocked the camera over.
No, looking here, it didn't spin. That was too much slipper clutch, I think.
Okay.
So I'm gonna tighten the clutch up and we'll do it again. I set the clutch halfway, I don't know. I'll go halfway again, so should put it at about 1/4, and yeah, we'll try it again. All right, I'm 1 turn in, which should be pretty loose, so we'll see what this does. I think that's still too much. We might have to just try without the slipper. Oh, I left the brakes on. I'm an idiot. What an idiot. Park brake was set. Let's try that again. Brake off. 2 steps working. Let's try this again. That pulled pretty darn hard. We should move that, because if you look, that tire track.
Ooh, that is very close.
I was pretty sure I hit it.
Yeah, you actually didn't even blow it over this time.
Nope. But ooh, that was almost a very expensive mistake.
I mean,
That worked. So you know what I did the first time?
what did you do?
Left park brake on.
Oh, that explains it.
So that's what a launch looks like with the park brake on.
Good to know.
That
Yeah, that worked.
pulled hard. But it like ran out of gear. It's almost like it wants a 2-3 shift like right away.
Huh. It's gonna be tough.
That is going to be very tough, and I don't know if I can do a 2-3 right away. I kept waiting for it to like hook up on the way down, and I basically rode the limiter the whole way out. But it looks like it stopped spinning like here, which is like 40 feet.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't spin for too long.
Should I just try it in third?
I mean, go for it.
This is where I say, what's the worst that could happen?
Right?
Try third and see what it does, but that worked really well.
Yeah, it did.
That was all clutch. That was all. Let's go back to second. Let's try second again. We'll just try to get a 2-3 shift out of it. And that 2-3 shift is hard to do it in boost. Oh, 4-wheel drive drifts. Let's try this again. I gotta look what my limiter's set at. It's only pulling 52. That might be part of my problem. Alright, I gotta check my limiter. It's only pulling a 52 right now.
Huh.
So I thought I had it set at 6. I might have dropped it for some reason.
Okay.
Who knows? I'm gonna check that. It's a little warm right now.
What's it at?
217. But I mean, that was a whole bunch of launches right in a row.
Yeah.
So let's let it cool off, and then we'll check the limiter and try it again.
Hell yeah.
Alright, so it's getting hot because cooling fan died. I just went through all the wiring, everything's good, but my cooling fan is dead, so we can't really beat on this thing too much more because we're not getting a whole lot of speed. We did get a little bit of data out of the Draggy, the 0 to 30, which I don't think I'm definitely not hitting 60. You said the 0 to 30 was like 2.8 or something?
Yeah, 2.86 is the 0 to 30.
Yeah, no idea if that's good, but it is what it is. I watched a little bit of the footage back. It seemed like the clutch was slipping a little too much, so I took a little bit of clutch out of it. I looked at the data. Rev limiter's at 6, but it's not getting there. It's like hitting a wall at 5, and I don't know why, but my boost is falling off. I'm peaking at like 3,500 RPM at 15 pounds, and then it's just tanking down to like single digits after that. So I don't know what that's about. I added a bunch of dome control up top, so we'll see what happens. I don't know. I don't think that wastegate was working properly before, and now it is. So I don't know. We'll just have to retune it. Try it again. It only wanted to make 2 pounds on the two-step there. I think I'm going to turn up the launch boost a little bit. We'll give it one more. I really don't want to melt this thing give it one more real quick, and then I think we're probably gonna call it good. But I'm just gonna throw a bunch more boost on the launch. All right, let's see what happens. Are fun, and she's at 232. We better shut her down. This thing is an animal. Really gotta get that cooling fan fixed. Really gotta get that cooling fan fixed. Whew. She is hot. Hot.
Oh,
Did some grass mowing.
nice.
This four-wheel drive donut drifts are pretty insane. Ow, 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 ow. That's a stabby guy. That's a stabby guy.
Whoops.
All right, well, she's cooked right now, 238 degrees.
Ooh.
But it did good. That one, it hit the limiter for sure. My cheap little $20 garbage tack is, it said $5,000, but she definitely banged the limiter, so. That one felt the strongest. Did it look the strongest?
Yeah, for sure.
It ripped out hard, and that was leaving on like 4.5 pounds. Like I can throw more boost in it at the line if I need to, but that hooked up, and we were.
Yeah, that seemed like
It was across the field before like I knew it, so I think it's good enough for the ruckus. We might have to dial it in there because it's gonna be a different track surface. But between boost and the clutch valve, I think I can launch the crap out of this thing without breaking it. Got to put a cooling fan on it because that is not gonna work. So, it's back.
It's been a long time.
I know, man. I can't. That four-wheel drive drift. Like I got in it and I was like, oh, this is fun. And then I was like, I'm in four-wheel drive. Like, it's in four-wheel drive with 6 mud tires on it, and it is just.
It seems pretty wicked right now.
It's churning. Yeah. I don't know how long this motor's really got in her. She does not have the greatest oil pressure. And if you remember way back when, it's got one bad journal on the crank for I think number 6. But we'll run it until it blows up, and then we'll put another motor together. One that isn't pretty broken, but it's ripping. Can't wait for the ruckus.
It's gonna be a good time.
Oh yeah, we're back with this thing. We're gonna be doing more with this thing now. We got a little bit of time, so keep watching.